Hi everyone, my name is Tatiana, and in front of me today I have the Hero Arts kit for the month of May 2023. This is the regular kit, and if you pay extra for the premium kit, you get these 3 additional components. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff included in this kit, so why don't we get rolling? Alrighty, so the first thing I want to say is that I had a lot of fun using these pigment inks, and there is a third card at the very end of this video. Well, it's not really a card, it's more of an attempt at a card, I guess, because I didn't actually finish the card or photograph the card. I felt like I wasn't liking it, so I didn't progress with it, but I did leave it in case anybody, I thought there might be somebody out there who might want to see it. Okay, so getting back to what I'm doing here. Those pigment inks are so much fun to use. I really hope that Hero Arts produces more of them, because as I was making this, I thought, gee whiz, I don't have any other colors. I'd like to make these backgrounds in other colors, but then I thought I don't have any other pigment inks in cube size form, just like these ones. So it's kind of neat that we got these. Anyway, so I realized that these were, other than the pink, the other 2 colors are primary colors, and the pink is sort of like red. So I thought I'll just go ahead and put these down and then try to blend them. And I'm really pleased with the effect, or the outcome of what I was doing here. So I have these little daubers. I'm not sure if this would work with brushes or even your finger. You can just use whatever you have, I guess, and just try it out. If you don't have these little daubers, just get something on there, maybe even a sponge, maybe a makeup sponge. Just blend them together, and it's really the squareness of the cube that is creating the effect, rather, I don't think, than the blending. The blending you probably, as I said, achieve with other means, but it's this cubed effect that I think it looks really neat. So if you feel like you don't have enough ink, just put some more down and blend it in. And at this point I was thinking, I really like this, but the edges of the paper are white, and I don't think I want them to be white. I kind of just wanted to blend it out. So that's what I'm doing here, is just blending it out, and I'm going to speed it up because you don't need to see me blending it out forever. But anyway, so the whole card becomes colored, and it's faded at the top and bottom, and I just really like it. And as I said, I'd like to try it again, but I didn't want to do it with the same colors, and I didn't really have any other pigment inks. I used to a long time ago when they first came out, but I have since gotten rid of them. I don't know, like I used to have those little, if anybody remembers those little petal flower ink dauber things. They were sort of shaped like a teardrop. I got rid of those a long time ago, mainly because they separated from the base. But anyway, so here's, I think I'm finishing there, yes. So that's the first background, and then for the second background, I started out thinking that what I was going to do was create some grass. So I put the blue and the green down, and as you can see, I have the dye there that creates the grass, and I was ready to use it. But as I started blending the blue and the green together, I just, I don't know exactly what point this happened, but I started blending them together, and then I put the dye down to cut them out, to figure out where I was going to make the cut. And then I looked at it and I thought, gee, that looks like grass. Well, I mean, obviously it's supposed to look like grass. That's what I was trying to achieve. But I mean, it looks more like a field, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It looks like a field. So why don't I just go with this field idea, and let's try to make it look more like a field than a piece of cutout grass with the dye. And because I wasn't intending to make the card horizontal, I ended up with a horizontal card that I liked, and then I had to cut a piece out of it because the die was too small to go along the length of the card. But anyway, so it's the same idea. I put the cubes down, smooshed them in and blended them out with this little thing, this little dauber. And then same as the other card, or other background, I decided that there was too much white there, and I thought I want it to be kind of like a dreamy yellow sky. So I just blended even more. And then I think at one point I showed you too that oh, here it is. It was looking too blocky there. It wasn't blended enough, so then I used the edge of the ink. And I'm so heavy-handed with these daubers that I put the ink down, and then I didn't realize it until I'd done it like 3 times, but I'm basically wiping most of it off. I think I need to learn how to be a little less heavy-handed with the ink. I don't know. I guess it's like I don't know my own strength or something when I'm doing this. I'm just like pushing too hard, and then it all just comes off. I put it down and then it comes off. But eventually, if you keep doing it like I'm doing here, it doesn't matter how much you push, you're not going to take all of it off. So it does end up becoming blended, and I really like that. I just really like the effect. And then you kind of have to sacrifice this dauber to be a green color because it's not going to stay yellow, that's for sure. And then I liked that the side of it there looked like a tree, and then I did the same thing on the other side. And then I did a little bit in the middle, and then I thought, no, don't get too carried away. So there's the 2 backgrounds, and now I will start doing the rest of the card. So I cut out a white foreground picture of the girl on the bike, and I just used what was left on my dauber to color her, because I was going to use the die cut as it was, just white, but then I thought, no, I don't think I want that much of a contrast, so I just, like I said, used what was on the dauber, and then eventually it ran out, and then I just went right back to the ink cube and stuck the dauber in it and just kept blending. So here I am blending, and I'm going to speed this. I think did I speed it up even more? Yeah, because I just blended the whole thing, and I didn't make it perfect. I made it kind of splotchy looking because I didn't really want it to be perfect, and I didn't really have the patience to make it perfect. So I kind of just, left it the way it was, and I kind of like that because the background isn't perfect either. And so as you can see, this is how I'm achieving the cut, by the way. I put it on there. I was too lazy to measure. I just put it on there and then pulled the background away and made the cut, and miraculously it worked. So it wasn't really the right size because it was landscape, and I'm trying to make a portrait card now, and because well, anyway, so I just cut it on, I trimmed it on the left, and then once again, instead of marking it, I'm just being lazy, and I'm just going to hold it together, flip it over, and then cut it so that it's the same size. And I don't even know if I lined it up properly at the top. I was so focused on the cut on the side that I'm not sure that I lined it up properly at the top. But anyway, it all works out in the end. And here I am gluing the back. Always fun to see people's glue patterns. Have you ever taken an interest in that when you're watching a video? I'm always interested in how people move the glue around on the back of the card. Anyway, so I'm putting it down there, and I would have preferred, as I said, to make a landscape card because I liked oh, and I just bought this new heavyweight. It's a paperweight, but it's really good for smooshing down cards, and that's what I was putting there on top. Okay, so I put it in my stamping machine, and I stamped perfectly the first time, yay me, with VersaFine ink. And now I'm putting the foam on the back of the card. Another thing I always find interesting is watching how people put the foam on the back. Where do they put it? Do they put it in all the tiny little places? Do they care about all of that? Just stuff like that. I don't know. I guess I'm easily interested by small things. All right, and then I just put it on top, and you can't tell that that background doesn't reach the full distance of the card, which is great. And then I thought, there's black as a sentiment. Maybe it would look good on a black background. So I just trimmed it down very slightly so that it would fit on this black background. I didn't want too much black to show. I just wanted a very thin line of black. And I thought that that really framed it well and made the card look nice. So there's card number 1. And there I am smushing it down, making sure it sticks. Okay, now we're on to the transfers. So I cut out a blue bike to go against the second background that I made. And here I am cutting it out. And I'm embarrassed to say that I cut it out and I put it down and I started rubbing it. I don't think I show it here because it's too embarrassing, but I was rubbing it without taking the backing off and it wasn't working. I forgot about the backing, so then I took the backing off and started all over again rubbing it. And these transfers are pretty sticky. As soon as you put them down on the paper, you're going to want to have that in the right spot, because when you start rubbing, you don't even have to start rubbing. Once you put it down there, they're sort of stuck, and it's, ask me how I know. I put one down and I wanted to put it in another position and it was, I ripped part of it. So just be careful that you have it where you want it to be. All right, so we'll speed this up because rubbing a popsicle stick on a transfer is not that interesting to look at. And there was 1 or 2 spots where when I went to pick it up, it wasn't stuck properly. So I just went over it again and see 1, 2, there's another one right there. And now it is stuck properly and away comes that paper, and then you have a die cut. Now, the thing is, the bike doesn't cut out, or the die doesn't cut out the balloons, it only cuts out the bicycle. So this was a bit of a problem, and this card was not a smooth ride for me. By the way, don't put your washi tape on top of the rub-on like I did there, because you never know. That I got lucky there, it came off no problem, but you just never know. I even got some on the pedal there I had to pick off. So what I did was I tried to use the rub-on on the ink background, and let me tell you, rub-ons do not like to stick to an inked background. They stick perfectly to plain old paper, but they don't stick well to an inked background. You could see, I think you could see that the strings for the balloons, I just couldn't get them to stick. So that created a problem. But right here, what I've done is I've cut out a shadow of the bicycle, and I'm putting the original die cut on this shadow and just moving it up and to the left slightly so that there's a nice little shadow. So I put the bicycle back on the card, and the balloons are rub-on and the bicycle's a die cut, and already it's bothering me. I don't like that. But for the meantime, I'm just letting it sit there. And then I think, oh, the bike is looking way too white for this background. So I just smooshed down some more ink and I just colored in the background of the die cut with the ink. And another thing I would say is, if you're going to do this, when it's wet, it looks like it matches, but then as it dries, it's going to get lighter. And I wish I would have put more ink on this die cut. So if you're going to do this, I think you should let it dry and then put another layer of ink on it, because you'll see with the finished card that the bike is just a little bit lighter than the background that it's supposed to be sitting against. And now I've put some yellow there because I realized that the handlebars were sitting in yellow territory and we needed to make them yellow. So there we go. They're yellow. So then I fussy cut out the rest of that die cut that was the balloon, and I didn't like that either. And I thought, you know what, I want to get rid of this rub-on, and so I have a mono sand eraser, and I tell you, get yourself one of these mono sand erasers, because if you get some stray ink on a card, all you have to do is use this and it comes right off. And as you can see, it also takes off rub-ons very nicely. it didn't take me very long to get it off. But there is a mark there where the rub-on was, and the background doesn't look nice anymore. So I just went over it again with the cube and the dauber, and I kind of pretty much covered it up. I could have done a little bit more on the right hand side there, but I thought anybody looking at this is not going to know what that was. So now I am taking the spoke stamp from the wheel, and I'm just doing some, I don't know if you would call this tone on tone stamping, but I'm using the blue to stamp in the blue area, and I'm going to use the yellow to stamp in the yellow area, and then I'm, you guessed it, going to use the pink to stamp in the pink area. And this just creates some interest to the background. And I would suggest not pressing firmly if you want it to look like this, because if you just lightly press it, then as you can see at the top there, I got 4 different looking impressions, and I didn't even try. I was just kind of not pressing all that hard, and if you press hard, you're going to get a solid impression, and if you don't, you don't know what you're going to get, basically. So I like the way this turned out. And I think a little bit later on I want even more of that, and I come back and I do it again. I kind of wish I would have just left it this way, but whatever. It looks good both ways, I guess. So now, once again, we've got the bike and the balloons, and they're not connected, and it's still bugging me, but I'm just leaving it there, and I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. And then I decided, you know what, I like these stamp marks. I'm going to try to make bluish green one. So I mixed the blue and the green, and I think I contaminated my yellow ink pad a little bit, but that's okay. Big deal. They're there to use, you know what I mean? So I'm going back and I'm trying not to get the blue in there, but of course it's pretty difficult to do that. Anyway, I'm just making some more marks here. Mark making, I guess this is called. And I have to tell myself to stop, you know, like stop. Okay, that looks good, stop. But then I just keep going. But anyway, yes, so this is the point at which I was like, dang, these balloons are not working. I don't like them. I need to get rid of the balloons. And besides, when I was a kid, I remember people having flags on their bike more than I remember them having balloons anyway. So I decided to make a flag with the pink and blue ink, and there's my head. And I really like this little pink flag. It's pretty cute. And then we're going to get out the die and cut out the flag. And I noticed that when I put my head here, it looks very much like a bird's nest. It's amazing the views of your head you get when you do these videos. Anyway, so the flag comes out nicely. Cute little flag. And there it is, ready to put down on the back of the bike. So cute. I just love this flag. I don't know, I'm not a balloon fan, I guess. I'm more of a flag fan. So then I decided to cut some grass. But once again, as I said, the die cut for the grass that comes with the kit is for the portrait style of cards. So I happen to have one in my stash that was horizontal, that was landscape size, and I put it there. I played around with it for a little bit, and then I kind of like it now that I'm looking at it, but at the time I just thought, no, it's too fussy, there's too much going on here, too many colors, so I just left it out. So I've got the sentiment all ready to go, and once again, that VersaFine ink never lets me down. First try, looks perfect, and here we go with the foam. By the way, this foam is, I don't like to say the name because I don't have it beside me and I can't quite remember, but it's half size. No, it's not as high as regular foam. It's half as high as regular foam. That's what I'm trying to say. And I like that because it just, I don't know why I like that, but I like the foam to be not as high. The die cut doesn't stick off the paper as much. And then if you want 3 different levels, then you can use the thicker foam. You can use this size, and then you can use the thicker foam. So I like that we have options with the height of the foam, the thickness of the foam. You know what I mean? Okay, so the bicycle was now popped up on foam, and there was no chance that I was going to cut a flag out of foam and try to get that to stick on the back of there. So I just cut out 3 more flags and used my glue pen. This glue pen is one of my favorite things to use for tiny die cuts because, as you can see, you just make little dots and there's not a lot of ink spillage and it dries clear. And also, as you can see, it's blue when you push it down, so you can see where the glue is. I really like that too. Even though it's blue, it dries clear. So that pen is a Zig Kuretake glue pen. And so I think we've got 4 layers there, if I'm not mistaken. And then we're going to once again use the Zig Kuretake glue pen to glue the flag down. And now the flag is basically the same height as the bicycle without using foam. And now I'm just deciding on the angle of the flag, and there we go. Looking good. And once again, I wanted the cards to match, and there was a black sentiment, so I thought it would be fitting to put a black background. So this is, as I said before, I'm always interested to see how people put their foam on the back of the card. I like to cover almost all the back in foam because I don't like flimsy cards. Also, it straightens the card out if you've wet it, I find, to put all this foam on. Alright, so there we are, and I'm centering it, and there we go. 2 cards made. So, as I said, I made a 3rd card. If you want to stick around after the pictures, the 3rd card will be there. I did not do a voiceover for it, but who needs my voice anyway? Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.